terms of thesis, the way I thought about my investments was first based on a development paradigm for India.
Mhm.
So first of all, fundamentally, I believe that whatever the first world citizen or consumer or small business has access to will be delivered to all citizens of the world.
Right.
It's not a question of if, it is inevitable. When I left India, people didn't have phones.
Yeah.
When I came back, everybody had phones.
True.
When I was growing up, before my teen years, very few people had televisions.
Mhm.
By the time I left India, most people had televisions. Not everybody had a TV,
Yeah.
right? So my thesis was when I came back to India, those were the early days of a smartphone. It was even, uh, Steve Ballmer said, who's going to buy $500 iPhone, right? He mocked
Mhm.
it. My view is everybody will have a smartphone. Moore's law will apply. My view is also everybody will have a broadband connection. And therefore, I believe that everything in terms of, whether it's healthcare penetration, insurance penetration, or basic luxuries of life that we say today, air conditioning, right?
Right.
We cannot imagine in India our domestic staff having air conditioning, but I think it is inevitable.
Mhm.
When I invested in Carvalho, my thesis was again very simple. I said, ultimately, everybody wants to have an experience of driving in a four-wheeler,
Yeah.
right? Nobody wants to risk their family on a two-wheeler. As
Mhm.
simple as that. Why would you want that, 6-month-old infant, your wife holding onto that, and you're out on a bike?
Right.
So it's the innovators' challenge to deliver that experience. And today we are there, right? Today we are offering fractional experience of a car through the Olas and the Uber. As
Yeah.
simple as
Yeah.
that.
True. True.
The investor's job is not to imagine the final state of that experience. The investor must just believe that this is inevitable. And
Mhm.
this is in a developing country very easy. Because you
Yeah.
already experienced it in the first one, now you come back, you have that kind of like a view of the future, what will bring here. Now, it may not appear in the same way, but in general, you will get the same, and you would start to connect the dots as I'm speaking,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. True. True.
Why did I do more of fintech? So look, ultimately, when I came back to India in 05, 06, people would say, oh, the average Indian is too cheap to pay up for anything.
Yeah.
In Mumbai, one thing you learn is time is money. Mumbai is a very time-sensitive city.
True. True.
If you get on a cab, you don't have change, the driver will not be wasting time finding change. He will just drive off and say, okay, no problems, I'll make money elsewhere. Time is
Yeah.
money.
Mhm.
So therefore, one thing is very clear to me is that when you shrink something, when you shrink the turnaround time by a factor of 10x or 90%, when you shrink time, money, and effort by a factor of 10x, you will get adoption. And I saw the single largest opportunity actually happening in banking. Again, it was sort of another epiphany that happened with me. I was trying to open a bank account for my small investment management company. And the bank in question was taking about a month, which I thought was kind of ridiculous because it was just exchange of data, right? My
Yeah.
data living on the cloud going to them. I finally gave up. I went to the bank branch. I removed my application. I said, I'll go somewhere else. I called an Ola, which is like the Uber of India. It showed up in 3 minutes. And it struck me that a 2-ton mass of atoms could arrive at my doorstep
Yeah.
within a few minutes. And these people can't, move a few thousand, whatever, 1 MB of data, so to speak. So I realized the bank of the future is a 5-minute bank.
Mhm.
Because people go batshit crazy if they have to wait more than 5 minutes for anything. We're getting trained subliminally every day, whether you go to a fast food restaurant, wherever you have to wait more than 5 minutes. Even your grandma must have told your grandpa at some point in time, I'll make you tea in 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Something like that, whatever.
Mhm.
Those days I'm talking about even 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think we are all kind of, this is this invisible barrier. And so I started to invest in speeding up banking, speeding up the flow of money. Ultimately, look, progress comes from increasing your GDP growth. And what is GDP? It's the velocity of goods, trades, and services. If you shift from physical to digital mode, your acceleration is almost infinite. That
Yeah.
is the idea. So the more an economy digitizes, the more acceleration one should see. And
Mhm.
that is really my goal. So I'm saying let's start it by one individual journey versus the other. And in banking, I found the biggest problem was KYC. The biggest problem when I invested in EasyTap was that in India, e-commerce was cash on delivery. 80% of the deliveries were not paid beforehand. Somebody would receive the delivery, open the package, pay, you would have removed it from your days in India.
Yeah.
And so obviously there was friction. You don't have change, now the delivery guy is waiting and so on. So EasyTap came and said it was inspired, to give full credit to Square. It will be a low-cost POS terminal. It's like a dongle you attach to your phone, and voila, you go ahead and you make a transaction.